This is my review of the Knitting Boards Adjustable Hat Loom. With this loom, you actually get to adjust it to 4 different sizes, as it listed here. And I wanted to just kind of tell you some of the pros and cons I think that this loom has. Now, one of the first is when you open it. Now, it comes with the instruction booklet, which is great, so you can know how to put the pieces together. It's pretty easy to explain. This is what tells you again how to convert it to the different sizes, so that's nice to include an instruction booklet. That's a plus. So bring it out. Make sure I don't have it upside down, which I might. Okay, let me bring it out of the loom. I have it upside down. It just comes in like kind of like a flimsy plastic case. So my first initial thought was I really wish that they would have included a little better like storage, so you wouldn't be storing it back in this and then we'll say back in the box. I wish it was something a little more than just like a flimsy plastic that would have been included to allow you to, like, again, store it better. What's also a plus for anyone is I love when any kind of looming kit includes a looming tool, the hook that you would use to loom with. I'm not sure how well this one would be. It does have a little bit of a soft edge on one side, so it's not a bad looming pick for anybody, but again, it's all about your preference, and it does feel a little more sturdy. I've gotten loom kits before where the pick that came with it it was bending. I think it was the Martha Stewart loom one that I had, and I don't even use that loom anymore. I just don't care for it at all. The more I try to work with it, the more I just didn't like it. So I hope that, other people probably like that loom, so share your comments below about the other loom, the Martha Stewart loom below, just to give people an idea. But for me, again, each loom you buy is about personal preference, and just out of, like I said, a pro of this is, unlike some other loom picks that come in kits, is a lot sturdier. Like, I'm able to kind of try to bend it and it's not flexing, and this part isn't flexing a lot. So it's a pretty good pick for coming with a kit. Now, this is what probably is both a plus and a con. For me, I like that the wider gauge pegs, like the pegs you need for when you're using bulky yarn, is already on here. You cannot pull these out. They're already there. You don't pull them out. And what you basically do is insert the ones for when you want to do more of a finer yarn. You would put in the extra pegs, which are here, these gray ones. You would insert them in, and that way you could use regular worsted weight yarn for the gauge. But I like that if you wanted to use a bulky yarn, you just simply don't put the pegs in, and these are already there. They're not going to pop out. Again, that's an issue I've had with other looms, is when the pegs pop out. Now, this is what's interesting. If you turn it over, for one piece, you'll see it kind of looking like this, and then when you go to find the piece that goes with it, and I'm just randomly grabbing one, basically you're going to look till they match. Well, these don't match, so perhaps you'd insert just a little one. Again, it's depending on what size you want to make, and they just snap in. So you would put the pieces together that way, and again, if you found another piece, you would basically snap them in. To remove them, this is the part that's kind of a con to me. For anyone that maybe has issues with their hands, this loom may be iffy for those, because you have to push them in to get them to come back out. It looks easy, but if you have any problems with your fingers, maybe arthritis and that, you may find this a con that you have to pull them apart when you want to make a new loom. But again, they snap in good, and just looking at this piece, I'm pulling on it, it's not coming apart, which is great. You're not needing an extra peg or something in there. It all attaches there, and again, you would just find your next piece using the instruction booklet to make it the size loom that you want. So that's pretty cool. They lock into place, and again, it's just a simple button that you push, and then you pull them out. And again, you'd go and you push it in. It's not that far up too, which is good. It's not something that's going to stick out that much, which is a pro. It's not going to stick out when you're looming, where you're going to be like, oh, there's a bump on the bottom of my loom. It's not that distracting. And again, you would just simply push it in. Okay, see what I mean? And pull it out. Now, as you see, I struggled a little bit there. And I imagine as I keep working with this loom and I'm putting it together and pulling it apart, I imagine some of that newness will wear off and it'll be a little easier. But again, if you have issues, like arthritis or something in your fingers, you may find a little bit of a struggle with putting them together and pulling them apart. The next part is, again, if you need to insert the extra pegs. Now, you could technically put all the extra pegs on all the pieces. Again, you get lots of pieces to make the 4 different sizes. You could go ahead and put the pegs on them and have the loom ready. And all you would do is choose whether you're going to do every peg or every other peg depending on the yarn you're using. But, excuse me, what you're going to do is if you want to add the pegs onto the loom for the finer, the better gauge, instead of using bulky yarn, you have to be careful. You really have to pay attention to how you're holding it, because if you look in here, can you see how one side is kind of flat and the other side is kind of rounded? You want to match that up to the peg that you have. It's a little hard to see on camera, but again, you want to match that up to that loom, or to the space. So you're going to look on your peg, and you're going to see just a little groove. Not sure how well it can be shown up here, a little groove, and that's what you have to do. You have to match that into the spot. So like if you have it, you're going to make sure the flat side is against the flat side, and they just snap in, which is nice. They snap in pretty easy, and again, you can kind of tug them. They don't come out right away, but again, if you have issues with your hands and you want these out because you want to not deal with these pegs on there for some reason, I did notice that they're a little harder to get out, and I actually had to use a little piece of rubber to help me pull them back out. So that's kind of another con. I mean, I like the pro that when they're in there, they're sturdy. You're not going to have to worry as much about them popping out when you're using them. But again, it may be a little tough to take them back out if you decide you don't want them in your way when you're looming. But remember, a pro is that you could put them all on, and just because they're 2 different colors, you got a light gray and you got the white, you can easily put all those other pegs on and just, with the bulky yarn, just stick with the white. And then with the worsted weight yarn, you could just stick with using all of them. So that's just the thing, is if you happen to want to take them apart, they do seem a little tough. Like I'm standing here and I'm like, oh, I can't get it. I'm like, I need something to help me grip it to pull it back out, and it is lined up how it needs to be. It's very snug against the base of it. So that's a plus. But I'm just saying, if you have issues with your hands and you want to be able to pull them back out, you may struggle with that a little bit. But again, what I like again about this loom is you can easily adjust it to the hat size you want, again, because it has the different, as you remember up on the thing, it does have the different sizes going from like baby up until like probably an adult man's hat or woman's hat, depending on how big your head is. So that's what the plus is. It gives you all the components to make all the different size hats. Again, you can only work on one hat at a time though. So that's a little downside. If you really like working with this loom, you're not going to be able to piece together it to make a small hat and then a large hat at the same time. You're going to need to finish a project before you move on, versus buying a loom set where there's the 4 already looms, which allows you to kind of go back and forth between a project, which can sometimes be nice. So again, the con is you'd have to work the project all at once before you can reconfigure it into another size. But that's also a pro. I mean, it kind of keeps you focused to work on one at a time. But again, that's just the basics. This is just sticking it together, and that's all you're going to do is you just look in your instructions. Like I said, they come with the instructions telling you what's included, and then there's a page that tells you, how to configure them. How to configure them for each size that you want to do. So you definitely want to keep this with you, because again, you don't want to lose that. So this is just a little review. I wasn't going to show how to work with yarn on it, because you're going to work with the yarn just like you would any other loom. There's nothing different. I mean, it's nice and smooth, so it's not like there's anything rough in your hand. There's a little bit of like a groove here, or ridge, I guess you say, so that's kind of nice just for a texture, but it's not a bad loom. Like I said, I've used some yarn on it. It works up similar to, using a different loom, and like I said, I do like that you have the option right there of using all the pegs, or just maybe even keeping this for when you want to use just bulky yarn. It's up to you. And like I said, the extra pegs snap into place. Just keep an eye on how you're putting them in. Again, keep an eye on that one side is flat and one side is round, and you need to match it up with the peg when you put it in. And again, if you want them out afterwards, they don't pop out as easily as they do. I mean, I would probably have to go off, I'm struggling to get them back out. And last time I wanted to get one out, I used a little piece of like a rubber gripper thing, and I was able to pull it back out. But I don't think you'd have to remove them that often. It's just if you do want to take them out, I struggled with that a little bit. So this is just a quick video showing what I feel are pros and cons of the adjustable hat loom. I do feel that the pros outweigh the cons, but I'm just more concerned for people that may have issues with their hands and the fact, again, of having to push the button in and snapping the pieces in and the pegs. That could be a little bit of a concern. But again, all in all, it's a nice loom. I like that it's nice and smooth. I like that the pieces lock in where you feel that they're sturdy. The cons is just I really wish that they gave you something cuter to put it in when you were storing it. But I'm sure I can find something cuter if I didn't want to keep this little clear plastic thing. So there you go, guys. I hope this helps when you're choosing whether or not to get this loom. I think overall, keep your eye out for any kind of coupons at craft stores, because you can definitely probably get this cheaper than what the retail price is. I cannot remember the retail price off the top of my head, but I will look it up and you will see it right there of what it retails at knittingboard.com. But again, other craft stores like Hobby Lobby or Joann's that may carry this loom may have coupons to help you make it cheaper. So keep that in mind. So it is a loom that I would say would be nice in your collection, but if you've already got all the other hat looms and things like that, wait a little while before you make the purchase just to see what you think. But again, I like that it locks into place pretty well. I like that it's smooth. It's not heavy. That's the other thing I want to mention. It's not a heavy loom, even when they're all together. It's lightweight, so that's a pro, is it's not like a bulky loom to me when I'm using it. But I just wanted to kind of show that if you're not somebody that wants to put pieces together to move it up to a hat size or down, then this may not be the loom for you. So I hope this helps you making a choice. And again, look online, find different places that might sell it a little cheaper, look for coupons, all that good stuff. But again, overall, I think it's a great loom. Have a great day, everyone.